Fantastic.
Yep.
And it looks like, do we have any video up?
A little bit more dough log over here.
Oh, it looks like I'm still in the circle room.
You're still in the circle room, but I have you turned off here, and I will turn your camera off. So, camera's off now, so they can't see that.
I'm not actually too live yet.
So your camera's off, your screen share's still on.
You're not live anymore.
But I did a whole new one.
Okay.
Whole new one. We should
Screen share is still on, you say?
The screen share is on, so it's just what the DNR is doing. So
okay.
We're good.
Perfect.
We're good there. All right, so we are on lunch break right now here at the NRC meeting here in Treetop Resort, like Skeeter was saying. This is the Rome guys. We kicked Tony and Brian out for 2 other guests. We have Jordan and Josh, and Josh has been kind of talking with us a little bit already this morning, Jordan, and we wanted to get you in here on lunch break because now what are we moving into? I guess why don't you kind of give us an update on what just happened and then what we're looking to have coming up after lunch.
Well, this morning we started out with some fisheries information. There was a lot of discussion about trout. That was pretty interesting. I'm not a big trout guy myself, but I found it interesting to listen to anyway. We had a conservation officer that was honored with 2 different awards for stopping that shooting, that active shooter that occurred at that Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc earlier this year. It was really great to see him honored and see the public support here today for our DNR law enforcement. It was great. It was moving. After that, we got right to deer. I mean, there was presentations from Dr. Brent Rudolph and some back and forth with the commission, some different proposals being put up on the boards for people to look at. And to be perfectly honest, the circus has started.
Yeah.
Here we go.
There was some banter back and forth among the crowd and the commission, which that did not happen last month. People kept stuff in check. I don't know if you were one of the gentlemen that spoke up during the meeting or not. We couldn't hear if it was you or not, but I figured it probably wasn't. You're waiting for your time to talk, which is in your 5-minute conversation that is going to begin here
Correct.
after lunch. So, yeah, there's a little edginess going on out there, but it's going to be a day. It's going to continue to be a day. It has already been a day. So
yeah, it's going to be an emotionally charged day. There's no doubt about it. I mean, whenever you're talking deer regulations, there's always passion, and when you're talking bucks, you can just up the ante by 10.
Yeah. All right, Josh. So, do you have any questions for Jordan after listening to what you've heard so far? And I know we were doing a good job of listening, but we also had some discussions over top of it.
Yeah, we turned them down a few times, and my phones were a little bit low a couple times. So they were talking about the auto-renewal of the tag, right? My interpretation of what they just said pretty much negated of everything that I've heard previously. Am I understanding that correctly, that these people were not actually charged for tags yet?
That's accurate. The way I understood it is that the auto-renewal, quote-unquote, took their credit card March 1st, but they're not actually charged for said purchase until August. So the hypothetical roadblock of, well, we've already sold, 60,000 licenses, that's not true. They haven't been sold. They haven't been paid for.
Interesting. Because that was a huge, like you said, roadblock up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one right there pretty much flipped this whole thing upside down for me. I mean, you know where I've been at this whole time. I've even made the statement that I think it would be reasonable to even grandfather some of these people in. If you thought you were buying something and it turns out different, grandfather them in. Reasonable ask, easy fix, move forward. But if that's not even a thing, and like he said, all you have to do is hit that little slider and take yourself out of the process, makes this whole thing a non-issue.
The thing that I find frustrating about it, Josh, is that this is, regardless of how it plays out, it is a self-inflicted wound. It was a problem that didn't have to become one. Obviously, DNR leadership was well aware that buck regs were heavily being discussed on the deer advisory teams for a year. They knew change was coming. And I think it was a silly decision, knowing that change was imminent, not knowing what that change would be, to not pause the auto renewal. That's just a self-inflicted wound.
100%, and these conversations did happen.
Yes.
They were encouraged to turn off the auto renewals because these conversations were coming forward. They had a chance. They chose not to do so. The Michigan Sportsman shouldn't pay that price.
Nope, clean up your mess.
Correct. I totally agree. Is there anything else that came out of, it sounds like Sounds like John's lighting a match in there pretty good. He's asking some good questions. And one thing he asked the AG, can you give me clarification on what he just asked the Attorney General?
Yeah, what was up with that?
First of all, and you guys probably saw the podcast I did with Brad Dijon here the other day, praising John Walters for his boldness, his courage, his integrity. And we're seeing that on full display here again today. John Walters is just the friggin' man in that room at that table. And I'm grateful to have him on that commission. That being said, I thought it was really interesting that John was asking for clarity to what appeared to be a rather innocuous, simple, straightforward question. And they couldn't provide one. It seems like there's an effort to put some smoke in the air. I think that there is an attempt to feign ignorance.
What's up, guys?
Because the answers to some of these questions are not going to be politically expedient for the agenda that's afoot, in my opinion.
Okay.
Huh. And that was all surrounding the Earn-a-Buck, if that's even...
That was Earn-a-Buck, correct? That wasn't $1? Okay,
That's my
because that was the
understanding.
clarity we had. We were like, is he talking about the combo tag for $1, or is he talking about the Earn-a-Buck thing? So
Yeah,
that was the...
And to clarify, there was a conversation last month that happened, a back and forth between the commission and Wildlife, in which Wildlife stated that this would cost them potentially, what was it, $5 million, $6 million to fix this tag?
Yeah, I've heard several different numbers. I couldn't even, whatever I say would be purely speculative.
Yeah.
Right.
I heard
I think it was speculative on their part to
I
begin with,
agree.
too.
Right. But this is what they
Yeah.
said. This was going to be a financial undertaking. This was going to be a problem. Yet we're still pushing on the department. And this is where I take issue right now, because I feel like for the first time the department has stepped up and actually made an attempt to represent those that are in this room and that see conservation fit, right?
Yeah.
And we have backed off of that and tried to make unreasonable requests on the department and thrown regulations out there that were never even talked about. And that's really where I'm taking an issue. We are holding them. We all know that they are running on a thread right now. They're running on a thread of budget, and they're running on a thread of funding. I mean, of energy. They are burning the wick at both ends, and they have been through this whole process.
Like she stated that, I can't remember her name, but like the check stations for Earn-a-Buck, I was like, well, I don't even know if I'm going to lay people off or I could have budget to hire temp people to help. Like
That was Sarah, correct?
That was Sarah that said
Yep,
that.
that's our
a
Wildlife
lot.
Division Chief, Sarah
Yeah,
Thompson.
it's
yes.
a lot. That's a lot for that. So yeah, I think I thought the driving force to $1, one of the things is the combo tag restructuring was a very easy, streamlined thing to do, and now this other stuff is just like Pandora's box opening. So that was a little confusing. So it was just like like we talked about too, Jordan, earlier, like the reason why the feeling is different here is because you had two groups of people who wanted to keep $2 and then you wanted $1, and there was a lot of people kind of in the middle, like, hey, whatever happens, happens. Now all of a sudden Earn-a-Buck comes on the table, like, WTF, you just got in a whole bunch more people, and then that came to the mix that weren't even really that interested to begin with, because a lot of people don't see the benefit to that, from experienced people all the way to new people to like comparing stuff, all the biology stuff you educate yourself on. It's like this is like a curveball a little bit here, and it's a whole different feel today than it was last month because of that.
You're baiting me into this.
I know I am.
You're baiting me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take the bait.
All right,
Welcome
there
to
you
the
go.
heat.
Like when you're fishing, right? The bluegill comes and nibbles on the worm, and the bobber just jiggles
Yes.
a little bit. I'm not doing that, dude. I'm that largemouth bass, that 8-pound largemouth bass, that hog. I'm coming straight up out of the weeds. We're just going to do
We're throwing top water at you. That's for sure.
So, I mean, the conversation for months and months and months has had the focal point of $1. And there was variance of it, right? Well, is it going to have an APR? Is it going to be unrestricted? Is it going to be 26? Is it going to be 27? How are we going to do this? There was a little bit of noise about, well, maybe status quo in the UP. But that was the conversation for months, that, $1 was on the table and nothing else. There weren't all these counter proposals. It wasn't, well, maybe $1 or maybe statewide APRs or maybe Earn-a-Buck or earn a second buck or maybe $5. It wasn't that way. It wasn't convoluted. It was very clear. It was very concise. It was very clean. It was very consistent. And then late last week, somebody took a hard left and pulled the e-brake when we were all cruising down the road with our drinks. And they're all over the windshield right now.
Yeah.
And that e-brake was earn a second buck. I'm going to bluntly say I am much less concerned, although I devoutly oppose earn a second buck for a lot of reasons, which we can discuss at length. I am much less concerned with the regulation than I am the process by which that regulation arrived on that table in this room today.
100%.
It was not transparent. It was not forthright. And I do not like the smell of it.
Yeah. And the reason why that feels that way is because this was under the interpretation that we were going to have multiple meetings where people could express their opinion. That's what's so great about this, is that the normal guys like us can come here, even though I think maybe we are a little, not quite normal guys, because we have the opportunity to take work off and do the things that a lot of guys want to be here but can't. But hey, we're able to represent a lot of people who cannot make it today. And the other days we go, and all of a sudden this happens, like, what the heck? We haven't even had a chance to rebuttal this. We haven't had a chance to do research. The DNR was kind of caught off guard, I feel like, with it. And the DAT teams and all this effort and resources put into it, to recommend this. And it's we're doing earn a buck, and on a whim, it feels like.
Well, let's be real clear about that. Let's spell that out, Nate. The Deer Advisory Team did not ask for this. We did not review any information about this regulation at any point in time in the last 3 years I've been a part of the team.
Yep.
The DNR did not bring forward this recommendation, and to my knowledge, hasn't reviewed any of that information up until just lately, when the commission basically ambushed them in the dead of night and said, oh, by the way, give us 10,000 pages of information on this, please, tomorrow.
Yeah.
So there, due process was circumvented here, plain and simple. And I also do not like the fact that amendments that are going to be voted on here today were proposed last month, 30 days in advance of the vote. Earn a second buck has not had 30 days to be reviewed by the public, to be looked at by the advisory team, to be exhaustively examined by the department. And I just have a problem with the integrity of the process right now.
Yeah, the DNR has had they kind of had a rebuttal, or
is it like you're getting too close to a solution to where you propose something to just keep it going, to keep pushing it down the road? I mean, is that what's going to happen, or are we going to just continue to push this?
Michigan's afraid to succeed.
Right, absolutely.
We're used to failure.
Yeah.
And that earn a second buck can be painted as everybody getting a piece of the pie. Can say, hey, well, all you guys that want your second buck, hey, you're still going to get it. Now, we're going to gouge you for another $20 in revenue, but we're going to let you keep your second buck. So the second buck guys are like, oh, okay, good. Pitchforks go down. And then us $1 buck guys are like, hey, wait a minute, this is crap. And they say, oh, but don't worry, because you guys told us the average Michigan hunter wants to shoot 1.4 deer. So under our system, they're going to shoot a buck, they're going to shoot a doe, and then they're not going to shoot that second buck. So you're good.
Yeah.
Proxy $1.
Except for the point where we don't know how that system looks. Because, again, we're talking about having 30 days, and this is where I take issue with the system as well. Because I agree, things should have 30 days for public comment period, if not more. But I think that 30 days is a fair assumption. But what I don't like about that is you can write something down on a lined piece of paper, pull it out of your pocket, and talk about it 30 days prior. The public does not have that amendment in their hand. We had none of these amendments, even the ones that we agree with, on paper documented for us in public viewing, let alone public listening.
Yeah.
And I have an issue with that because we don't know how that earn a second buck looks.
Right.
Can somebody get both of those tags October 1st because they participated in early antler season and shot a doe, and now they're starting their season with 2 buck tags in their pocket? Is there an order to these tags and the way that they come?
Well, and I think, Josh, you're poking holes pretty easy, and I think we could put a lot more holes in this real quick. And I guess that's the problem, isn't it? Because there's a recommendation that could potentially be adopted here today that has clearly not been thoroughly vetted, not thoroughly evaluated, and there are obvious problems, even to a casual observer in the audience who's not a biologist or necessarily a diehard hunter.
Yeah. It just feels different. It has a different feel to it, and that's what we're lacking. And I think I know some of the commissioners have talked about wanting to kind of restructure things or have some of these goals in place, they're asking of that. Well, that needs to go both ways, for everyone. Hey, let's do better. It's 2026, man. Why is this not a better system?
No joke. We've seen it play out with other species, right?
Yes.
It's let's build a better system.
Yeah.
If you're going to propose something, it has to be proposed
Yeah.
and then moved down the road. Given that 30 days, now let's vet out the whole
Yeah.
thing. Let's go through proposal G. Let's do what we're supposed to do.
Due process.
Due process.
Due process.
Not
This wouldn't be a hard fix to stop that, to stop what happened today.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
tweak in itself, again, there's multiple holes here that can be talked about, but
Yeah.
that tweak in itself with 30 days documented in writing,
Yeah.
this should not be a difficult thing. Again, I just want to touch on this. This has been discussed for a year. We have been having these discussions in that room and other rooms,
Yeah.
right, for a year as citizens, the Deer Advisory Team for much longer,
Yeah.
right? They
Yeah.
brought this forward, and the citizens supported that. The department supported that.
Yep.
There's two elements to a three-element system right there that supported this regulation, and all of a sudden, somebody gets a wild idea, and the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah.
And it comes out on a lined piece of paper or over a drink. However this came forward verbally, I don't agree with how this came forward. But I want to go ahead because I want to ask Jordan a question, and then I'll get to my question after.
Okay. Well, I'll try to just hit this one real quick.
You
One
lie.
of the yeah, you lie like a rug. One of the biggest issues in the state of Michigan is the broken relationship between the Michigan hunter, the Department of Natural Resources, the Natural Resources Commission. That's been a problem in our state for a long time. It is fractured.
Yep.
It is not good. There is mistrust. You know, it took me years of advocacy and traveling to sportsmen's clubs and things like that. And only just this last year have I seen Michigan sportsmen answer the bell in record numbers. Never before in my life have I seen the kind of attendance at these commission meetings that we're seeing right now.
No.
And then you're going to answer that with a lack of transparency? A lack of
Yeah.
clarity? No answers? Last minute proposals? That's your answer when Michigan sportsmen finally show up in number?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me you're trying to shoot your own foot off.
This could be catastrophic.
This will be
The
catastrophic.
consequences could be deadly. And I pray to God it's not. You know, I had a conversation with some of the guys, Josh, that we mutually run with and have worked hard in the trenches with this year. Talked to him this morning. I said, hey, listen, I'm going to be real. I think this is going to be a junk car full of dog crap set on fire that rolls down a hill and burns. That's what I think is going to happen here today. And when it does, here's what we need to do next.
Yeah.
We can't let our brothers and our sisters walk away, throw up their hands and say, oh, see, the system's broken and they don't care. We're done. We're just going back to our tree.
Yeah.
You know, Josh, I know a little bit of your background. You know, you fought, you boxed.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bet when you got punched in the mouth, you didn't go to your corner, pick up your T-shirt, and go home. You punched back.
I absolutely would never take my ball and go home in any game that I
No.
played.
And that's where I'm at with Michigan sportsmen right now is you're going to get punched in the mouth today, but it's what you do next that matters.
Yeah.
And that can go on anything. That could go on if you're a proponent for one thing or the other, right? Like if you are totally against one buck or if you're for it and it happens, like today is not the end of advocating for the whitetail deer herd or advocating for other hunters. And like me and Josh, when we talked, shoot, it's been close to 2 years ago now, I think. Like, hey, let's get more involved. Like we're in it for the long haul. Like doing these podcasts, doing these things, and having all these guys that are here. Like we want to do better, and that's because we're talking about this.
Yeah.
We're showing
And
this.
at the time, we were getting nothing from it. None
Nothing.
of this was on the table. We were showing up because,
we're
like
just like,
you
we got to
said,
do something.
we got to
Paying
do
in.
something.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, got to do something. And no matter what happens today, like we're still going to advocate for that because that's what we care about. This is a hobby. This is a passion. All those things. But like, I want my son to have great hunting for the rest of his life. I want my grandkids to have
Amen.
great
There you
hunting.
go.
All that stuff. So like this education, this stuff has to continue, and these friendships and these networks. Like I'm seeing faces that I've seen last month. My friend group's getting bigger. It's encouraging, and even though we might not have as many people at the next meeting because what happens maybe today, that means we can still have people there though. And
Yeah.
I know the first meeting I went to, the hunters were outnumbered dramatically. And
Well-
I keep going back to that, and I like the people that represent hunters today compared to what the first meeting I went to.
And I
was.
heard somebody say, I feel like I just left this room yesterday. Because you see a lot of the same people here this month, which
Yep.
I'm so happy to see because I had concerns, right? We made a big push for April. I had concerns. Guys were burning that one day they had off, and they
Yeah.
weren't going to show up today. But they took time out of their day, and they showed up in the room again today, which I think this could be catastrophic again for the commission. This is not a good look for the commission. This makes the DNR look bad, and it's not their fault. So I want people to understand that nothing that perspires today, the DNR, the Sportsman were in the right place. There is one element to this stool that is
Broken.
not going to uphold their side of the deal today. But Jordan, I want to ask you a question because there was something that I was trying to listen to on there, and I'm not sure I could wholeheartedly agree with, and I think you'd be the perfect person to ask this question to.
On the hot seat. Here we go.
On the hot seat. Now, I heard a commissioner up there, well, I'll just say I heard David Nyberg ask a question about deer potentially being mature, but still possibly being 4 points and 6 points, and that being the majority of deer taken in the UP being mature. And this is, again, I'm going in and out on the headphones as I was hearing this, so I didn't get it word for word, so correct me if I'm wrong, but is that what was said?
Yeah, you're right in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was Brent's response to that?
Brent had a response?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah.
Okay.
Or a dance around.
So, yeah, he tiptoed, and he kind of did that thing that sometimes those individuals will do, where he answered the question but didn't answer the question. So the answer is very simple. I think that Commissioner David Nyberg is full of more crap than my horse barn.
Huh.
I'm a lifetime UP hunter. Those of you that are listening to me, hearing my voice, I'm a diehard Uper. Spent 30 years hunting the backcountry up there. I live there. I hunt there. That's my home. Cover 6 counties a year between scouting and the actual counties I hunt, which is usually 3 or 4. Thousands of miles, 2 pairs of boots. I do the work. And I have no idea where David is getting this stuff from, because that's certainly not my experience. It's not the experience of anybody that I talk to, period. I mean, we're lucky to get bucks to 3.5 years of age. We don't have a conversation off the cuff about, well, mature bucks. Well, let's cut the crap. A mature buck is 5.5 years old. I'm telling you right now, we have got a tiny, tiny, tiny percentage of that in the Upper Peninsula. Tiny.
Statewide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last month, David made a comment that I took umbrage with as well. He's talking about how, 70% or so of UP hunters are killing bucks that are 3.5 years old on an annual basis. I wish.
Yeah, there's no way.
I see the buck poles. They're basket rack 6s, basket rack 8s. Their antlers are as big as my index finger. What are you talking about?
And when was the last time we physically aged deer in the state?
It's been a while.
Yeah, how do you
Okay.
prove that's like we said,
It's an
the
opinion.
opinion is that mature bucks are being shot at a high rate. There is no scientific proof or data that says, yes, we are confirming by teeth or by like anything else that this has happened. This is just what people are saying.
Well, I got to educate you on that real fast. Spikes are 1, 6s are 2, 8s are 3. That's how it works.
Yep, that's how it works.
Yeah, that's very scientific,
if
by
it's
the way. It's
over-
well documented.
If it's
That's
over a
peer
4
reviewed.
point, it's mature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we said this earlier. Like,
Yeah.
if he's got an 8 point, he's automatically 4.5 years old in the
Yeah,
state
he's
of
big dog.
Michigan. He's mature.
But I do want to continue briefly with that about the UP, because I think that David just misrepresents us terribly. And, I'll be blunt. He is very sympathetic to certain organizations, UP Whitetails, UPSA, up in the Upper Peninsula, and that's where he gets his information. And bushlight biology prevails. That is not the reality on the ground. That's not the reality for Sportsmen. And, I would urge people listening to this, go back on your Facebook, right? And go to like Kurt's Corner or Woodland Firearms or any of the other places around, UP buckpole hubs, and look at the deer that are hanging up. They're short in the nose.
Yeah.
They're narrow in the chest. They got no rear end on them. They got little antlers. I mean, just look at the animals. It's ridiculous. And do we have slower antler development in the Upper Peninsula for the most part? Yes, we do. Mm-hmm. We absolutely do. And Brent was right in what he said about antlers are the last place that a buck puts calories.
Yep.
That's a fact. And our deer, especially our bucks, are getting their ass kicked during the UP winter. The terrible sex ratios, they're breeding themselves to death. There's a lot of things that are going against the UP buck developing good headgear, at least in 2/3 of the UP. You get down in Garden, places like that where they don't have the snow and they got ag, obviously there's better development. But by and large, we have terrible sex ratios. We have no age structure, and I don't understand how David comes to these conclusions. I think it's egregious to occupy the position that he does and sit behind the microphone and make anecdotal comments like that.
Yeah, that seems strange at the least. Like, and irresponsible. Like,
I think it's irresponsible
anyone has
without
spent
having the data to back it up and
Yeah.
support it. Then we should not be jumping to conclusions. And the thing about Earn a Buck, going back to it, you have data from other states to support that it clearly does not work. Elliot jumped on. We grabbed him while he walked through the hallway a little bit ago, and he jumped on, and he had disputable data that was not being shown at the meeting. And if we're leaving things out, if we're exploring these options, then we need to explore them in their entirety.
Yeah.
We need to do our due diligence and explore this option in its entirety. What are the faults as well as the benefits? And I just don't think we're doing that. We're leaving out a part and trying to shape a narrative and pushing this out to the Michigan hunter as, hey, this is going to work. When those of us that might just look into it a little bit more because we have that distrust for the system can absolutely look at this and say, no, this is not going to work. And we're the boots on the ground that know the mindset of our hunters, and we know how we operate, and we know that we are not in a good place to put a system like that in.
And I want to touch on one thing, like, because we also have our own opinions, the four of us sitting here, right? Like,
100%.
where are we basing our opinions from? And I know that a lot of us are nerds about this kind of, like, what classifies a buck being mature, 5.5 years old? Why is that? Because we have read so many articles and pay attention to so many people who are masters in this profession of whitetail biology, and they all can show you pictures and video and evidence of these deer and the characteristics they portray when they get to a certain age class.
I want to hit that. You can go in there right now and ask anybody on the DNR staff that has a background in deer biology, right? You can ask Sarah, Chad, Brent. You can ask any of them. At what point is a buck skeletally mature?
Yep.
And they will give you the same answer. Guaranteed.
Right. It's not a debate.
Yep, it's not a debate. If you go up there and ask the commission, at what point is a buck skeletally mature? I will guarantee you that 90% of them could not answer that question.
Because it's not their profession.
It's not their profession, which
Yes.
in this process, they are required to rely on the intelligence of our deer biologists. Scientific data. And per Proposal G, they are held to that scientific data. Has anybody asked them at what point they're skeletally mature? Has anybody asked them these questions?
I think if nothing else, if there's people listening to this that are going to have 5 minutes, we're gunning these guys up. There's going to be some hot takes.
Yeah, there's going to be some hot takes, yes.
You bet.
That has no reflection on antler size.
No.
Do the majority of older bucks have bigger antlers on average? Yes. But they express their potential by their environment.
Yeah.
And if they have everything that falls into place from a environmental aspect with nutrition and low stress and all that, will they express their max antler potential? Yes. Their average chance of doing that is substantially higher than an area that has cedar swamps and low ag and maybe hard winters, and they're rutting for 3 months out of the year instead of only 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, there's a lot of things going against the UP buck. And so then is that why you have some of these older bucks that maybe are wide with no points or no brow tines or those things?
Well, I just want to say, have you ever
Absolutely.
seen a 6-year-old 4-point and what that rack actually looks like?
Mega.
There is a giant difference in any atmosphere of a 6-year-old 4-point and
Mega.
a 1.5-year-old 4-point.
I'm pulling my buck pick back up.
Pull it up.
Yeah, pull it up. Skeeter's got one. I shot a buck. He's 8.5 years old. He was a clean 7 until he was 8.5 years old, and he threw some garbage on his brow tines. That deer was king tut. He just didn't express a lot of antler develop because it just wasn't what he was. But I guarantee you, anyone saw that deer out in the field, compared to other 1.5-year-old deer, 2.5-year-old deer, it was obvious that deer was mature. Like, they just look different. And a lot of guys, unfortunately, that hunt the state of Michigan haven't seen a lot of mature bucks because there just isn't a lot of them roaming the landscape.
Absolutely.
And that's why that's why a lot of us are addicted to going out of state, because it's fun to see those mature bucks when you're driving, when you're hunting. You see them
Here's
chasing
another
does.
one of those 6 points.
Mega, like they're megas,
Right.
Yeah.
megas. So
You just look at the physical characteristics of the animal. The headgear is irrelevant.
Right.
And let's just address that, right? Like we joked about point counting earlier. That's the Michigan way.
Yep.
Like, we need to do a better job in our fraternity of educating other hunters about the physical characteristics, how to age deer on the hoof. That's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been hunting 30 years and I still make mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that there are very clearly identifiable traits, right? It's that barrel chest, it's that Roman nose, it's the sagging belly, it's the neck wrinkles. We all know the things, right? There's no question what you're looking at. And I was really disgusted because I felt like Commissioner Nyberg tried to manufacture moral high ground by throwing ambiguity that didn't exist.
Yeah.
And it will get increasingly hard. I mean, I can't say increasingly. I think we're already at that point. And Nate just made it.
Looking at earlier.
We have so few mature bucks on the landscape that our woodsmen have been robbed of that opportunity to even learn these things from the stand. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, education is
You
lacking.
don't see these mature bucks on the landscape. How do you learn how to hunt them?
Yep.
How do you learn how to age them? Because you have no experience, and we have robbed ourselves of that experience.
potential.
Of
You
the
can't
potential.
hunt what's not there.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct.
All right, so I got some people that are doing some comments here on our thing. Thank you for everyone who's listening and leaving comments. Kind of go down the line here. Some guys are asking what you think the gut feeling is. What's your gut feeling right now, Josh?
Oh man, I think today that we are going to get stiffed with a bad decision. That is my gut feeling. We are going to get stiffed as sportsmen with a horrible decision, but I think that there will be a price to pay for it.
Something's going to happen from this. Skeeter.
You know what? I'm picking up on some language that's being used. I wrote down a couple of them. Walter's saying what we passed, and then saying it's not my fault, and I don't agree with Nyberg. Or Nyberg. And then there was I don't
better.
know.
That was good. Nyberg. I'm keeping that.
And then
Nyberger.
then
No, Nyberger.
there was another one. I don't remember what commissioner was up there because I couldn't see and I'm old. You can make your own choice even though the decision we make here today. No matter what the decision is,
Yes.
just know that you can make your own choice. So when things like that get said, I go, okay, so it's not going to go.
Yeah.
If it's going to go $1, you can't make your own choice. I think that they're going to walk away. They're going to table it. That's just what I think. But
Yeah,
what do I
and
know?
I think that's what a lot of guys who are listening and watching this are feeling that too. There's a couple of things that went down. However, I can spin it. I'm a little more of an optimist, which is just the way I am. I still think there's an opportunity here for good to come from this. And I don't know what that may mean. Maybe that will be, hopefully it'll be a little clearer when I'm coaching the soccer game tonight, when Skeeter updates me what the heck's going on.
Yeah.
But eventually, no matter, the commissioner that did say that is not wrong. Regulations are only a part of the piece of the pie here. We as hunters have to continue to do the right thing with our trigger control, conservationist. You should know what's going on in your area, how many does you should be shooting, what bucks you should be shooting. If you really, truly care about having a better hunting experience for the deer, it does come down to you, the individual, and then that can branch out to your neighbors. I have some awesome neighbors. I have some great hunting in the state because of my awesome neighbors. So no matter what happens, it does come down to us. We are the major contributing resource or contributing factor to wildlife management in this state through fishing, through hunting, through all the things that we do. And it does come down to us to being better. I almost said we're the problem again, but that got a little heated on social media. But we are. A lot of us hunters are the problem here in the state of Michigan.
You're baiting me again.
Absolutely. That's why I go before you.
Take
All
the
right.
bait.
Take it.
All right. I think that's a fundamental truth, right? As the hunter, the man or woman behind the trigger or behind the release, we are the author of our conservation experience. Not the commission, not the department. Those are personal choices. What animal you're going to take and why. I believe in limited government and maximizing personal liberty. That's the heart and soul of my conservative
My
nature.
man.
But that said, I'm also going to push back on this a little bit, that the idea that we can just use education or air quotes, the honor system, that people are going to choose to do what's right. Brother, we got jails and prisons overflowing all over the country to the point where they're signing early releases for people that shouldn't get out for 20 freaking years. Why? Because we couldn't educate those people, because they wouldn't make the right choices. And granted, I'm not going to sit here and say that that's everybody, right? Like, I'm not saying that hunters are a bunch of convicts that are morally corrupt, but human nature is to exploit, to consume, to expand, to conquer. That's what we do. It goes back to the Garden of Eden. God created perfection for Adam and Eve, and he said, oh, hey, by the way, there's just this one tree over here. Please don't touch this tree. You can have all this stuff.
Yeah.
And the temptation, even in God's perfect creation with Adam and Eve, was too much. And they just had to do that one thing. The one thing.
Rack temptation was present back then too.
Yep.
Right.
My second buck was rubbing on that tree. So.
Yep. Second buck. Yep.
So my point being is that we have that in our nature as human beings, all of us. And that's why we have laws. That's why we have regulations, because we need a guide. We have to self-regulate in some way, shape, or form. And when hunters and outdoorsmen and fishermen, sportsmen take part in this process, they are helping to craft regulations. It's not just big government jamming it down our throats, right? Like, we're at the table. We're saying, hey, we've identified there's problems, and we see a need for regulatory change for these reasons.
Yep.
I think that's righteous. That's good. That's just.
Crowd in here. Maybe
Why do we have laws against DUI? Well, you can't pound a fifth of bourbon, get on the freeway, and do 80. Well, why not? Because there's problems, right? Same thing. We have school speed limits.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Flashing neon green. You may not drive more than 25 through the school zone during pickup time. Why? Well, because the kids. Well, my point is,
you have 5 minutes to give comment.
to us here today, that's common sense. Like, we would never do those things, but we have to tell people that.
3,500 emails to go through.
So it's not any different, because hunters are also human beings, right? We have to set some guidelines. We have to have guardrails. We have to have
When you have 1
regulations.
minute left,
And
I'll
it
hold up
shouldn't
the
be
1 minute
looked
time.
upon
When your time is up,
as
I'll hold up the time.
stripping
Please
of
sign
our
and you have to
rights
either
or
your
infringement
comments
upon
or
our
votes.
liberty,
And
because
if
the
you
only
keep
way that's true
name
is if
for the
you're not
record,
at the
we'd
table
appreciate it.
participating in the
And I
discussion.
understand as well.
For sure. Absolutely.
I agree with that.
One of the
Yeah,
things
I mean,
too
that's
is
just how
we are
it
more
works. I mean,
individuals that all
like a
plan
lot
to
of this is a hobby for a
decide
lot of people. This
on the
isn't,
same
and there's
issue.
some people that just take it at
We will allow
different
you to
levels of
consolidate your
engagement with their
comment
hobby, right?
and
And that goes
pick
across
a
the board. And we
person to
have
speak
a lot of
10
people that
minutes.
aren't as crazy as us.
Yes,
To
Tony
go
Dombrowski
sandwiches?
is
I
the
guess we
first
should
one
get some.
up.
We should
Tony,
get some.
This is a hobby in its loosest form, but to many
is
of
it
us,
going
yeah,
again?
and
this is
Susan, your
a-
name,
a
I haven't
I'm
used it,
here
though.
too, you're mixed up, you can come together.
Are they spinning up in
I
there?
don't think Susan.
They're just sitting down.
Never
Looks like
mind.
something's. Oh, they are. They're talking.
Are they? Is the computer in there picking up stuff? I have it muted on Skeeter's end. Mute. Are you on the DNR
Tony,
one? Or
make sure
ours? That's
your
doing that.
make sure your mic is on green.
Okay.
Okay, so we
Here
just
we
can
go.
hear it in our ears when it's going.
Yeah, I can make
a
it go.
few of you
It probably just
people are up here, I
is
know.
weird because I have this.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be
Three of
fun?
you,
We just
matter
let
of
the
fact.
commission meeting roll, and
Okay,
we'll just
so
sit
I've
here like
retired.
Sports
That's what we've been
Center.
doing.
That's what we
My
do.
name is
That's what
Tony
we're doing,
Dombrowski.
Jordan. That's
Yeah.
exactly
Oh,
what
okay.
we're
I've
doing.
been a
Great,
member of the UP
great.
Whitetails in
Absolutely.
Dickinson County for
Maybe I'll do my
35
public
years.
comment from right here.
I was
Wouldn't
the
that be
past
fun?
president of that organization for 15 years.
hey,
The
Eister's
past
taking his
president
call
of
from
the Upper
home.
Peninsula
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Sportsman's Alliance for 8 years.
I've got a bad knee. I
I'm a
need
winner of the
reasonable
Tom
accommodation.
Washington
Still
Lifetime
in.
Achievement
Make
Award.
walk there.
There we go.
I also,
Back here.
I'm still on the board appointing members to the two Citizens Advisory Councils that are in the Upper Peninsula.
Fellas,
Okay.
thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, George.
It's been a
Thanks.
pleasure.
Thanks for
I'm going
being
to take
part.
this headset off.
I'm a
and get in there
qualified
so I can,
NRA
pay attention
instructor.
to
I've
what's
taught
going
Pay
on.
over
attention and then
1,000
do your 5
students
minutes. You
in
get your
Iron
5
County
minutes
for
of talk
carrying
on
concealed
the list.
permits.
Oh, yeah.
We will.
20 years
We
as
will
a
listen
hunter safety
intently
instructor.
and not talk over you.
There may or may not be.
I have been hunting for 71
to
years
Survivor
in
today.
Area
Oh, hot take.
022
Ooh,
since
hot take.
1964.
All right,
I
here we
missed
go.
See you in there, brother.
Skeeter, what's
4
going on
years.
right now?
I'm getting
Guam
done.
for 2 years, Vietnam for
Is it
1
public
year,
comment right away?
Looks like we might be
1
public
year.
comment. This is
And I always
Tony,
made
right?
it in
You
the
might be.
opening day
Yeah,
of deer
we probably
season
went to public
from
comment right after
Texas,
lunch.
California, and Lower Michigan. That's
thank
because
you.
I was in the Air Force.
So everybody, thanks for
Jody,
tuning in.
join us.
We are-
Fortunate
Oh, Joe
twice.
just hit his
Joe
genitals
I
on the
always
table and moved it
return
about
to
6 feet.
022.
All right, here we go. We're going to go
it's,
back to the meeting now, hopefully.
Kind of interesting that I could do things like that. But okay, Michigan is my home. The UP is my home. I've been all over the world, and then some. Now, you get down to some of the stuff. You have a copy of some few things that I got to say. I'll make some comments on some of them now because. But I want to remind you that the UP has 3 different areas. Okay, just kind of like you have different areas in the Lower Peninsula. But I got them classified as this. Our 3 areas are low snow, medium snow, and high snow. It has a regular boundary line, M28 on the north and US 2 on the south. Okay, now you have different areas, you know. I know there's some talk, I don't know if it's
So
been
when I-
decided or not, it's trying to make the 2 peninsulas, make it state laws straight across the board, UP and Lower Peninsula. I already agree,
When are you muting?
and
We're
I so
muting
support
Experience Wild, but
Mr.
this,
Nyberg's
my computer-
recommendation to leave the
Just mute it
UP
on the.
alone.
Just mute it on.
Let them be like
Yeah,
they
it's
were
not on the
last.
I did, but it
podcasting
wasn't
screen.
No,
working.
because a lot of people don't realize,
Yeah, I did that earlier, and you said you could hear it still.
even, you can shoot a
Well, there's
buck
probably
early,
lag.
okay?
Maybe, yeah.
But a lot of people don't realize that
What
Joe
like a
Davis,
holiday.
welcome to
deer season,
welcome to
some
podcasting with us
schools are
today.
closed.
You've been taking some good footage.
No,
make
absolutely
it
not.
big-
I was supposed to
You know,
interview. I
teachers
need
in the
somebody.
Marquette area and
I need
stuff like
somebody
that.
to walk
Some
with
of
me
them
in
on
an
the
interview
contract,
so I can
they
sit
may be
sit
off on
behind
the
the
15th
camera.
of
Oh, then you
November.
need me to like get interviewers.
I need like
That's-
a
that's it.
reporter or somebody.
You know.
Yeah.
But now, I have killed several nice bucks in the earlier years. I shot 2 12-pointers,
Okay. there's
one
lag.
10-pointer, and a
guys.
very
We're trying
large
to get this
8.
technical stuff
Yeah.
down.
I've
But
only
I'm
killed
I don't know.
3
I don't know when I
legal
should go
bucks
in
the
there.
last
Stay over
20
here,
years.
Nick.
Now,
You
that
can
doesn't
get
mean that I was violating. That means I had a license and was able to shoot it. Okay?
Maybe.
But it didn't
Not
sound right when I
Tony,
said
if you
legal
want,
buck.
I
It
do
sounded
have
like
my
maybe I was a
my
violator
other
or
mic with the
something.
fish microphone.
But I'm not. Okay?
If you
But-
want to like run around,
I,
and
you know,
interview
I hunt
people,
022. I've been there for many, many years.
if
Back
you want to run around and interview
10
people, I've
years
got
ago
my
or
fish mic,
so, okay,
DJI mics.
there were
I think once,
21
like,
hunters
people
in the
start
same area
talking,
where I
we'll
hunt.
go around when people like come out
Yeah,
here and stuff.
yeah.
How?
Yeah, 'cause this
You're
part's
gonna have
gonna
to be
be
in
long.
charge of that because I'm leaving
There's
it
the
too.
people that
So-
came up,
Yeah. So
almost all of them
Leave.
came from
Jake
the
said
Lower
he was just about
Peninsula.
to pull in, so
They came from Grand Rapids. They came
Birdie's
from
coming?
yeah.
St. Charles.
Oh,
they came
hell
from
yeah.
all over.
He'll be
They
my
came
guy.
to the UP to hunt.
Yeah,
They
I
don't
did that
come
earlier, and he
anymore.
said he could hear it still.
Okay? Now, we're talking about the deer, the pack.
There's a pretty good lag, so
I did. I bought a
which is
uh,
yeah. I don't know why
crossbow
it's not doing
because
it now.
I tried to win one at a
You know,
at
what
a
you probably have
banquet
to
and
do
that
is
didn't work. So I
probably
went
have
out
to
and
mute
bought one.
that
Muted
And I
computer.
you.
in
hunted
there.
you,
this
though.
last year, 8 days in archery season and 10 days in a rifle season. I did not see a deer.
kills it on my
Not
headphones.
one deer
Yeah,
that
what
I
kills it on
see.
that?
Yeah, it killed it here.
Okay, now I've got 5 minutes from her time. Okay,
No,
in the
that's
spring and the early travel of my
Other
miles,
computers in there.
I only saw a few fawns.
Yeah.
And that is
The other
normally when you're
computer that's
driving
actually
around.
broadcasting the
you see
NRC
some
meeting is
spotted
sitting
ones.
in the Michigan room.
This year it didn't see.
Sorry, guys, if we're
hardly
trying to
nothing.
get these levels
Yeah.
right for you still.
I didn't
Are
see
we-
a lot
are
of
we
dead
gonna
deer
stay out
laying
here, or are we
alongside
gonna go
the
back?
Stay
highway.
out here, right?
Yeah, we'll stay right here.
Seems good. Comfy. We can snag
Now,
people
I
when they
didn't
walk
see
by.
any,
Yeah, seeing
but
people.
at night
all
we
the-
do hear the wolves
Who's
howl
leaving? You?
steady.
I got us four, me,
You know,
Tony, Brian,
and-
and Nick gotta leave. So
I had
you
a-
can come.
About
can sit
a
down.
couple, 2,
Yeah.
3 years ago, I was talking about a neighbor that I had a file of seven wolves cross his field. 20 minutes later, they came back. Okay, and I mentioned it to an employee of the Department of Natural Resources, and I was telling him about the wolves. He called me about 3 weeks later and said he went and did a personal check. He estimated at least 15 to 16 wolves in a square mile. That's a lot.
I don't know if
Maybe
that's
that's
possible.
why I'm not seeing any fawns.
15 to 16
mile.
wolves in a
You know,
square
you
mile.
take
I
just
don't-
a
I'd
little-
say like extremely
yeah.
territorial
I
on that
understand
point.
there's
Yeah,
a
and the
deal
range is
now up in
excessive.
Right.
Ohio
So like a
Royal.
wolf's range is
22-mile
Okay.
circle.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Or the-
huge.
So that you're
They're not having any
No
young
No way.
moose around, but the wolves are
No, they
doing
eat
real
each other.
fine. So, okay.
Tommy says the audio is better. Which one is my mic
Like I
loud?
say,
It was
did
Tony's
not
mic.
support
I
the
just
buck rule.
paused it.
Check,
when
check,
it was
check.
Changing the
good.
start date, I understand the way we're gonna have it, it's gonna be the same. But I had made this earlier. Okay,
Yeah, but is our talking loud over
Okay.
top of them?
now, one of the things that,
Yeah.
well,
I'll turn it
that
down some more.
I
Then.
look at in that, killing of does not really help our deer population, and I have here in a, remember that the does that we
You
kill
want
are
us to talk so you
cutting
can
down on the amount of bucks that we're getting
move it
delivered
down.
because
I'm
they're having
for
no
killing
young
7
ones.
bucks.
You're a 7 buck
Because
guy? 7 buck
$7
Joe?
buck
getting enough
guy.
bucks to
$7
feed
buck
them.
rule.
We
We have to start
we got
shooting the bucks
commission
like
over
we
there.
do. And,
We have
okay,
commission?
Yeah.
Who's over there?
I don't know.
I got a little statement down there, and
Alex,
many
we can
years
get him
that I
on.
was in the
Paul?
position to
Who
confirm to
Paul, the older gentleman, he's at another
Josh.
meeting.
just wildlife,
Great.
fisheries,
going in,
forestry
getting
department,
ready?
Department
Good
of
job,
Natural
Josh.
Resources Commission.
Good
Brother,
job,
we
On the
Josh.
appreciate you
legislative
joining us.
advisory
Thank you.
unit, we were always able to come
We'll
up
keep
with
doing this.
many good changes.
We'll be
It's too
more
bad that
organized
the
next time.
department does not
There
listen to the
goes
Illinois
my
citizen.
hero.
The opinion of these citizens is not being listened to.
I said I would say
Well,
that.
that's just my own personal account, okay?
So
Now,
we've got
the
Mr.
Upper Peninsula only has a fraction of the
Dembowski.
state's
So is it quieter
population,
now?
3%, but has a
It's
lot
still
of
really
land that
loud.
can be used for hunting, 75%.
something's wrong
97% of the people live in the Lower Peninsula and vote on
So I was
regular
doing this, should
issues
do
that
the pot
pertain to
track
the Upper
here.
Peninsula. Okay,
That should be that.
we don't stand a
And then
chance
this
when it
is-
comes time for election time statewide, and that.
Yes, but it should
we'll
be
only have
streaming
a
through
few
it.
votes.
We're just trying
So,
to finish it up.
okay.
And then this should
Now,
mute it. That's what I was doing earlier and it was working.
17% of land that
don't know, I'm
the state
assuming
owns in the UP, 1/3 of the bucks were killed in that
Yes.
17%. Okay,
Yes.
the rest of the
Yep.
land belongs to,
Speaker, I can,
1 minute?
I can do it again.
Okay. Let's go down, real quick on deer yards. Well, you don't have deer yards down here, and feeding up in
Yes.
the Upper Peninsula, in the northern part, clubs are spending up to $50,000 a year feeding the deer in the wintertime because of the amount of snow and stuff that we have up there. Okay, and there's no CWD in the UP.
Perfect, yeah. What's the best?
Okay.
Best way to reach out is email or the phone?
Stim it
The
out.
other, one thing
No,
that,
it's the
and I was saying that, the days that snow in the UP, over 100 days, have bad
check,
snow.
check.
This last year is one of those 100 days that
check,
we had
check.
horrific
That's
snow.
4.
All our deer are going to be
4 is
this
the
year.
NRC.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
You,
I
3
appreciate
is you
it.
and I. So okay, we're coming back.
I don't want to assume, but most hunters.
That should be.
Before we move on, Marcia, you're going to be next up to speak, but as you're coming up
All right,
there.
can I get a mic
we
check
need
from everybody?
a minute.
See how
Sorry
this
for a
sounds.
little bit of the distraction here. We have Commissioner Eister is
Testing, Mike.
participating remotely due to a medical condition. Under the Open Meetings Act,
Test
permitted
on
under
Joe.
section 15.263.
Good God, you can get away with
Unit 2,
that.
And he needs to publicly announce
It
that
should be
he
us
is
louder
participating remotely
than the
and
others.
tell you all where he is
through
participating
the
from,
computer
his
and in general.
location.
Is it about the same?
So Commissioner Eister, can you hear
I
us?
turned I turned
I
one
can hear
off.
you.
That's Joe.
All
And
right.
he puts it-
Can you,
oh, it's you? Okay.
2 is
State
Joe.
where you're located right now for the audience?
Yeah, I'm in Williamston, Michigan, I'm at home, and I believe I was also indicate the reason that I can't participate, on the 2nd, I believe it was, I had a stroke, and I was released from the hospital this morning. I did have the opportunity
Don't want to have it do a
to,
whole new.
view all of this morning's meeting on YouTube,
Plug it and plug it back in.
so
the
I'm,
mic.
caught the whole thing,
Do you not think it's Mike
and
and
was able
Joe?
to get this, link set up over the lunch hour, so,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for joining us, and We wish you
crazy 'cause I
good
knew- I knew
recovery,
you did,
and
and it still
thank you
was
for
having
making an
audio
effort
was-
participating today. All right, with that, Marcy,
Check, check,
you
check.
are up,
Mr. Mike
dear.
King, can you hear?
Oh, this is
Instant
my
call
this is our
is on
favorite
deck.
person. Oh, I wish this would work.
Hi, I'm Marcy Twilliger. Let's take a look at our wildlands through a non-consumptive lens.
Oh, the wild
Beavers
things.
have an outsized impact in preventing wildfires. Their dam building creates wetlands, restoring hydration to grasslands, acting as natural fire breaks, which can also store significant amounts of carbon, serving a critical role in mitigating effects of climate warming. And coyotes, who fulfill their role as essential scavengers, keeping rodent populations in check and are lower, like their counterpart in the Upper Peninsula wolves. And candlelit fishers, who have the unique capability of successfully limiting porcupine populations, thereby protecting against the girding of mature trees, leading to healthy forests. Plus, they're great in rodent patrol in areas without predators. And we have our badgers, whose foraging and excavation aid in decomposition of organic matter, increasing soil fertility with high pH levels.
do believe that she's against
Microhabitats often colonized by
What do you think,
mosses
Brian?
and liverworts, which may
Oh, yeah,
not
sorry,
survive
Joe.
otherwise.
No.
And
Yeah,
badgers
you should,
create pets that are like
if she's
subterranean
like
condos,
soy-based
which are
products,
used by
you
other
should look up
animals like
the,
red fox,
the
rabbits, and martins
death rate
as
of
shelter from
animals
extreme
and all
weather,
that from
and have proven
fertilizers.
value as refuge for
Yes,
reptiles
I know.
and amphibians
I
during
know.
forest
Every
fires.
it's every
Badgers
grasshopper,
are also
every
skilled
worm in that
predators
area
for marine
is
rodents like gophers,
so
preventing the
Unfortunately,
damage to egg crops that can come from
she doesn't want to hear that.
overpopulation.
That
I know.
doesn't,
We know
that doesn't
badgers
complete
maintain
her
a
narrative,
symbiosis
so
with
we're not going to
coyotes
listen
as they
to
get
facts. We're going to go with
coyotes
feelings on
show
this.
spleen. There is no indication
I
of
do want to talk to her. I'd love to
warrant
interview her.
Oh,
removal,
should be great.
and we
Yeah.
clearly
Let's go
benefit
get her.
from their attributes.
Let's
So
go
why
ask
are they
Wait till
all
5
on your
minutes is done.
okay to kill list? I noted in the proposed wildlife orders commentary that the department sees a clear risk of otters
no.
being illegally
Yeah, that
killed
does a
during
lot of
beaver
noise.
season.
That just took
Hence,
out a
they're
lot of
asking that
noise.
beaver
That
trappers,
was
quote,
your
make every effort to
I
only
had my
target
Inca
beaver,
sitting
end
here
quote,
next to.
or just stop
know.
killing them.
Is it
Anyway,
sometimes
the
I get it when
department's
you have a cell
asking that
phone or
crew to
something on the
self-moderate.
cords.
I
Seems
just
like a
muted
fool's
you.
errand. Remember, these are the same folks who were so incensed
I
by
can
the
still
court
hear 'em,
slapdown of a
we're
shortened
on the same
coyote
thing.
season.
Okay.
They took their big mad hissy snit to the commission, and
Can
we
you
all know
hear
how
her
that
before
turned
she
out.
stopped?
I
'Cause
can.
Heads up to the
I can
department.
hear her
This
fine.
might be a misplaced presumption of good faith.
Yeah,
It
no, can you hear
continued,
it on
proposed,
YouTube?
quote, proposed
live.
changes will provide additional recreational opportunities for otter trappers by increasing bag limits
Yeah,
throughout the
you can.
state. However, if trapper has otter kill tags, they can be used to tag otters taken if caught incidentally in beaver sets,
Otters, she's all
end
over the
quote.
place today.
Well, that seems conflicted.
Yeah, she's going
Has
everywhere.
everyone
She's
conveniently
going ham in
forgotten
her
that
5
traps
minutes,
are
yeah.
indiscriminate
She's going
equal
soy in her 5
opportunity?
minutes. Dog. What are you talking
Hey
about?
Ted, I can
And
see
another
your
thing
comment. What does
the
that
department is
have to do with
concerned
deer
that
season?
extending the
It
otter
doesn't have
season
anything.
could
This
result in
this is
increased
5-minute
harvest at a
public comment, so they
biologically
could actually get
sensitive
up and talk
time,
about
end quote.
just
So
about whatever they
found
want.
mom and dead
And
babies.
this lady,
It also found that
Yeah, I can
proposed
still hear her.
changes in
Susan
harvest
Ho,
could
Susan
cause,
Ho here.
quote,
I've
significant
seen her at just
population
about
declines
every
for
single
some
NRC meeting,
species,
and she
end
does
quote.
talk.
What are we
For
doing here?
the,
These are not
I
normal
believe her
times. I see no
co-partner is the
recognition by
attorney for
policymakers of
animals.
exigent threats
Is
like
that what it is?
emerging
Attorneys for
pathogens,
animals.
Attorneys for
exploding
animals.
tick populations,
And they
anthropogenic
are
climate warming,
represent
compounded
the,
by federal attacks on
I don't
the
know if it's
ESA and
anti-hunting
EPA.
or
Chief of Staff at the Union of Concerned Scientists
everything
just
that's
stated in
fun
the
for
press that
us.
they,
But
the federal
yeah,
government,
she's got a strong
aren't
opinion, and she gets up
reorganizing the
there and she
Forest
does her
Service.
time, and
They're dismantling these critical
we're glad that she's
services.
here to
Research and development is the
voice her
brain of the
opinion.
Forest
Not
Service
that we
in wildfire
necessarily agree, but
detection and
we're glad that she's
mitigation.
here.
Doesn't she
Yet
get paid?
57 of
Don't they get paid for
77
that
of
position
those
when they're on a board
facilities
like
will
that? They
close,
get paid?
end quote.
No,
And
no,
4
we
of them are
don't.
right here in
I was gonna
Michigan.
say, shoot.
Failure to
my day
consider
job.
these
But I
additional
believe
stressors puts our
she
wild
is
ones in
a
even
paid
greater
employee
peril.
and
Our
is
wild's last defense
able to
falls to
collect a
the
paycheck
state.
on that. So
Sorry, I
We
was.
have a
I,
duty
Tommy, I
to protect.
really want to.
The wild
interview
ones
her.
are our
I really
allies,
do.
not our
It is-
enemies.
Adam said
The
he
real
would too. That's
advers-
the first thing he said. The first meeting he came to, she spoke, and he instantly was like, "I want to have a conversation with her. She reminds me of my grandma." And we've had some great conversations over the years about that because they do care about the animals. Like they're passionate about it. They're passionate in the way they look
It's
at it.
escalating
Yeah, no, and I
harm of
think
dire
that
climate
that
warming and a policy
it comes
structure clinging
across
to outdated,
where we are
slaughter-centric
not
ideologies of
passionate
domination
about the
over
animals or care about the
coexistence.
species, and
Sabotaging our allies in a threat
we-
environment of this magnitude
it's that kind of
doesn't feel
language,
like a
right?
winning
Sabotaging
strategy
our
to me.
allies, and when she's
It
talking
looks
about
like
her allies,
aiding
she's
and
actually
abetting the
talking about
problem.
the animals.
Please
And
stop
I think
doing
that
that. Thank you.
you can argue that the sportsmen, not even sportsmen, woodsmen, conservationists,
Apology.
care about the animals just as
And
much as she
next on
does
deck is Mike Thorman.
from a different side of the fence.
Yeah.
After, on deck. You're next after Vincent.
I think there's a lot more people like that on our side. We could get some
Vincent,
damage done.
Vincent, you're next up.
We're doing
I was
pretty
just
good at it.
trying to give the
Noah,
speaker
thanks
after you a warning, but
for the question. You can't hear a thing she's. Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Emerald.
When I talk
Vincent
over her,
Paul,
you really
Alpena
can't hear
County.
anything that she's saying. I'm
Speaking in
sorry, I went
regards to
right over that.
the
but
recent
it doesn't have
acquisition,
anything to do
Black
with
River
Tuesday.
Ranch. I had an opportunity to attend the Pigeon River
Hey, Tony,
Council
can I
meeting
hand
last
the
month
agenda?
and also.
No, I'm going to try
the,
to turn up the public comment a little bit,
statement.
and we'll try to be a little
So
bit
good
quieter,
afternoon,
but
Commissioners. Thank you
color
for the
commentary
opportunity to
sure,
speak
so we're
today.
definitely gonna
I will
talk
also
over
want to
everybody.
Yeah, we're
acknowledge the
struggling.
50th
Earlier, we were able to
anniversary
adjust the
of the
volume,
Michigan
and now it
Natural
seems
Trust
like our
Fund,
meeting
which
volume
played
is
an
stuck
important
up.
role
Oh, what's
in the
this right here?
acquisition of the Black River
Can I
Ranch.
adjust this right here?
That legacy
Revelation.
reflects a
Tell him it's right
longstanding
there on
commitment
the bottom left. Tell Brian.
protecting natural resources while providing
I think Ben
thoughtful
wants to
public
go. So we might
access.
figure
I
it out.
appreciate the continued work of the commission and in balancing conservation with responsible use.
On the
I'd
YouTube.
like to reiterate my request for consideration of managed bicycle access
It was there, now it's
within
gone.
the
Tell me to go
Black
by
River
YouTube.
Ranch area. As a specific example, my recent experience, I entered the area by bicycle and encountered several elk in the meadow
Yeah,
section.
like a
Despite
drag bar
my
right there.
presence, the animals
Right
didn't
next to live. Yep, he's right
exhibit
there.
significant alarm or displacement.
What's up,
This
Lincoln? You
quiet,
want to hop in here with us
low-pack
at some point?
access allowed
Live
for
streaming it,
observation
and then
without
talking
obvious
about stuff?
disturbance, suggesting that responsible,
Okay, what one's you? You
non-motorized
one?
bicycle travel
Okay,
can be
so this is
compatible
two?
with
Yep, choose
wildlife
Joe.
presence. More broadly, research and management experience indicate that non-motorized use such as
Sounds
hiking
nice.
and biking produce similar levels of wildlife disturbance when properly managed. Measures such as seasonal restrictions during
All
sensitive
right, Tim,
periods,
we're going to try to adjust
designated
that so we're getting
routes,
more volume from the
and clear
meeting.
user guidance can further reduce impacts. On the issue of trail sustainability, evidence shows erosion
Tim, why
is
don't you give us
primarily a function of trail
because
design,
our
drainage, and
meeting a
soil
little bit
conditions, not simply whether use is by foot or
No, it was
bicycle.
working. I was muting it.
With thoughtful planning and maintenance, natural service trails can support multiple low-impact uses. We also have a directly relevant example within Michigan. The current policy Pigeon River in the area allows bicycle use on designated county roads, forest roads, and selected pathways within a landscape managed specifically for elk, habitat, and wild character. This demonstrates that carefully defined bicycle access can coexist with conservation objectives under existing DNR management practices. For these reasons, I'm not advocating for unrestricted access, but rather a measured, site-specific approach, which could include designated routes or corridors, seasonal protection for wildlife, monitoring and adaptive management. A pilot program would allow the department and the commission to evaluate impacts while maintaining full oversight. In recognizing the legacy of the trust fund, I believe this is an opportunity to continue the mission supporting both conservation and thoughtful, responsible public access. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Thorman.
Now we're busting into Mr. Thorman, going
No,
into
I was
his
trying to
public
give you a
comment.
warning.
And no, they have not decided on the
Okay,
buck tag situation yet.
I know I'm a hunting dog guy, but I deer too. And I've done a lot of inquiring to see what everybody thinks about what you're thinking of doing here today. But there's one thing I'm passionate about, and that is with that single license, don't put antler point restrictions on that. We got to remember, I'm the voice of the maybe as many as 200,000 hunters that don't have a blind, they don't have a food plot. They got to sit by a tree in the woods. And you guys are hunters. You see that buck going across there with his nose on the ground.
All right, we just got
There's
Lincoln
no way
Roan
he can
join
tell
us, owner of
what
Packer
his
Max
antler
and
points are.
advocating for
And
better hunting in Michigan for 15
myself
years almost.
personally, I tracked a deer for about 2 miles one time, got him
going
in a
on, guys?
cornfield,
Hey,
jumped
Jason,
him, a boy who's going down the road,
Been
and
decent so far.
horns were
sorry
wide in
for
his ears and way up
levels
high,
not
and
quite
I
right, guys
shot
that
him.
are listening.
Beautiful
Trying to
4-point with
adjust
a
the gain volume, and we're
17-inch
struggling to
size
be able to do
spread.
that. But
So
Lincoln, you're
I don't
you're
know.
on the
There's so
list.
many
You're talking
drawbacks to
5
that.
minutes, right?
We're in Michigan.
I'm
We're a
way down
different
towards the end, but
culture. You can't compare us to
I'm on
other
there.
states. Other
I'm,
states don't have anywhere near a
I'm not
fraction
sure
of public
what I'm
ground
even going to say at this point. I had everything
and
all
that's
laid out,
used
and
by hunters in
after
the UP and the lower.
hearing the
And
presentation from Brent Rudolph, I
think
don't even know
that
what
you should
to
really,
do or
if
say
you
or
do that single
Yeah.
The earn a buck,
the earn a buck. I
throw you for a loop, didn't
yeah,
it?
like I mean, I knew it was coming, but I didn't.
the culture
I
of
just
Michigan, whether we like it or
didn't
not,
think they were going to
is
spend that much time on it,
did I
and
get my
that's
buck?
very
Did I get a
concerning
buck?
to me
They want to
that
go
they're even
back to the
considering
shop
that.
and
Not
say they got their
I,
buck.
I'm going to be
Now,
curious to get back in
one
there and
thing I
listen to
think
some of the
they should
testimony
do
because,
is,
as far as I know, not one single person
taking that
has
earn a buck,
advocated for this except for one.
thing,
Yeah.
shoot a buck,
And
shoot a buck.
I certainly don't
I
want
have a
it,
lot
and
of,
I know everybody I know doesn't want it.
I've had no
And
negative
On both sides of one
right,
buck, it
yeah, it
seems
doesn't
like.
matter what you
Yeah.
you know. Don't nobody wants earn a second buck or earn a buck. Period. Like
I hear you, Rick.
you know.
Did that work?
Yeah, no, I'm just answering Rick here. He
Okay.
said, I'm so scared that they're going to screw us. And I said, I
Yeah.
hear you, Rick. And I guess
Oh yeah.
just to bring everybody up to speed, how we're kind of doing this is the NRC is playing in the background. We do have the closed captions on, so you can read what they are saying in there if you want to hear these public comments. We're listening to it live, so we're kind of reacting to what is being said, and we're interviewing people who are going to be doing public comment, kind of what they're thinking and how this is going today. When it comes to these decisions and these votes, you will hear us be a lot more quiet. We're going to turn up the NRC. We're going to listen, and then we'll talk about that afterwards. So they have not made any decisions yet. They have put out all of the things that are proposed. They've gone through and not really had any arguments. It's more of some talk back and forth. I know Walter's jumped in there a few times and expressed opinions, and so did Dave. So
A couple outbursts from the audience.
couple
Yep.
outbursts from the
You
audience.
weren't one of those,
That
were
was-
you, Lincoln?
No,
Attaboy.
absolutely not.
That was
want to be
fun.
respectful.
I don't love that.
No, that's not the time.
Nope.
If you
Time
wanna-
and place.
If you want to hear exactly what the NRC is saying, then you can mute us and read the closed captions, but we're going to be doing the kind of the color commentary over the top. So, Lincoln,
Yeah.
what's your thoughts, man? How's this going?
Well, I felt really good about it up until about
Should
2-3 days ago,
unplug everything.
and
Okay. Yep. Gotcha. I'm tracking.
you want me to keep going?
Yep.
or-
Go.
Yeah,
Keep going.
please.
You're
Yeah,
good.
so up until about a couple of days ago, in matter of fact, right up until yesterday, I was driving up here and I got a phone call from Commissioner Walters, and he was quite frustrated at
3 or 4 years, they're gonna have bucks this big.
Oh,
and you got the
hey,
other people on the other side.
I didn't know.
Probably the majority of that.
Honestly, I had no idea.
And
I mean,
look at this buck.
Earn a buck has not been even
550,000
talked about,
hunters,
period. Hasn't been any part of the
43,000,
discussion
433,000
since the last
by the
meeting,
captain.
well, even prior to that.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden
by
they're
the
dropping
numbers
this on
I
us in a
got,
row. I'm going,
they're-
where does this come from, number one?
the numbers I got
And
on
why
here,
would you even consider that? And I've even talked to, several of the commissioners and said, like,
and that's been going on
if you do,
been in one
one buck with an antler point restriction, you won't have to do
rule
it.
for years now, other than a minor little percentage point, and I have.
And all you're gonna do is further degrade hunter
The only thing I
trust
think would work
in the Natural Resource
would be
Commission.
to earn a buck.
Nobody is gonna, nobody
those
supports
guys.
it. So if nobody supports it, how are you
But on
supposed
earn a
to
buck, people
have
need that second
valid
vote.
feedback,
Don, you worried about,
because you have no idea what the participation is gonna be.
are you
I
worried
am
about
terrified of the ghost doe, as we call it. People, because we don't have to tag deer anymore.